If I can keep you below $600 a month, will you take the car home today? That question would help turn Daniel's $32,000 SUV into a commitment costing more than $52,000. And the strangest part is that no one needed to hide the monthly payment. It was written clearly on the page. What disappeared was everything surrounding it. Daniel did not visit the dealership because he wanted a luxury car. He went because the warning light on his 12-year-old sedan had returned, the repair shop wanted $2,400, and he could not risk missing another shift at work. He had one rule. The payment could not exceed $600 a month. The salesperson showed him a $32,000 SUV. Daniel liked it, but the price made him uncomfortable. Then came the question that changed the entire deal, the question you heard at the beginning. Daniel said yes. A manager returned with a worksheet. The payment was $599. Daniel felt relieved. His budget had survived. But pause the story here, because nothing about the vehicle had become cheaper. The dealership had simply found a way to make $37,200 of debt look like a $600 decision. By the time Daniel reached the finance office, the $32,000 SUV included $3,500 left over from his old car, several fees and optional products, minus his $2,000 down payment. The amount financed was $37,200 at 9% for 84 months. The payment really was about $599, but 7 years of payments totaled more than $50,000. Add Daniel's down payment, and that $32,000 vehicle would remove more than $52,000 from his pocket. The monthly payment was affordable. The deal was not. Daniel is fictional, but every number in his example reflects a real mechanism used in auto finance, and that mechanism has become enormous. At the end of March 2026, Americans carried approximately $1.69 trillion in auto loan debt in only the first 3 months of the year. Another $182 billion in new auto loans appeared on credit reports. So how can an ordinary car purchase grow so dramatically? To understand it, we need to follow Daniel's money, not the vehicle, from the showroom to the lender and eventually back to his bank account. The first trick is not necessarily a lie. It is a change of focus. When Daniel said $600, he gave the dealership a destination but not a route. The payment could be lowered by reducing the price, but it could also be lowered with a larger down payment, a longer loan, a different interest rate, or a combination of all three. Imagine placing $37,200 on a table. At 9% interest over 5 years, the payment would be about $772. Daniel would reject it immediately. Stretch the same debt across 7 years and the payment falls to about $599, almost exactly his budget. But the 2 extra years add roughly $3,900 in additional interest. Listen carefully to what happened. Daniel did not save $173 a month. He postponed part of the price and paid extra for the privilege. A longer loan can be useful when a buyer genuinely needs lower monthly pressure, but it creates a dangerous illusion. If the payment fits, the purchase fits. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau warns that longer terms increase total interest and can keep borrowers in negative equity for longer. Now let us look at the interest rate, because this is where convenience can quietly become a business model. Daniel assumes the dealership searched for the lowest possible rate and found 9%. But dealer-arranged financing can begin with something called the buy rate, the rate a lender quotes to the dealer. The final rate offered to the customer may be higher, and the difference can compensate the dealership for arranging the financing. Suppose Daniel qualified for 8% but accepted 9%. His payment changes by less than $19 a month. That sounds too small to fight over. Across 84 payments, however, that single percentage point costs him nearly $1,600. $19 is easy to ignore. $1,600 is not. The loan is the same, only the camera angle changed. This does not mean every dealership marks up every loan or that dealer financing is automatically a bad choice. A manufacturer promotion may even beat outside lenders. The lesson is simpler. The first rate placed in front of you is an offer, not a verdict. The CFPB says the rate is negotiable and recommends comparing multiple lenders. Daniel's next stop is the finance and insurance office. The salesperson may have sold the car, but this room can sell another layer of profit without adding a single horsepower. Daniel is offered an extended service contract, tire protection, paint protection, and gap coverage. Some of these products may be valuable. Gap coverage, for example, can help if a vehicle is stolen or totaled while the loan balance is higher than the insurer's payment. But Daniel hears each product described through the payment. This protection is only $48 more per month. $48 feels small beside a new SUV. Here is what the payment hides. A $3,000 add-on financed at 9% for 7 years costs about $4,054 after interest. The product did not cost Daniel $48. It cost more than $4,000, delivered in small pieces. This is why buyers should ask 3 questions. Is it optional? What is the cash price? And what will it cost after financing? If those questions make the deal uncomfortable, the monthly payment was hiding something important. Regulators have repeatedly identified problems involving unwanted add-ons, unclear prices and refunds that were not properly returned after loans ended early. In March 2026, the Federal Trade Commission warned 97 dealership groups to review whether advertised prices included all required fees. A warning is not proof that every recipient broke the law. It is proof that buyers need the complete price in writing. But the most serious number in Daniel's contract did not come from the new SUV. It came from the old sedan. Daniel still owed $18,500. The dealership valued the car at $15,000. That left a $3,500 hole. The dealership could take the old car. It could not make the old debt disappear. So the missing $3,500 was rolled into Daniel's new loan. Think about that for a moment. Daniel is now paying interest on a car he no longer drives. The old sedan has left the story, but its debt has received a supporting role in the next 7 years of his life. This is negative equity, owing more than a vehicle is worth. The CFPB examined millions of loans originated between 2018 and 2022. About 12% of the loans in that dataset included negative equity from a trade-in. The average amount rolled into financing was roughly $5,073 for new vehicles and $3,284 for used vehicles. The affected borrowers did not just begin with larger loans. Their average payment was $626 compared with about $493 for borrowers with no trade-in. Their average term was 73 months, and their average loan-to-value ratio was approximately 119%. In plain English, they began by owing almost $1.19 for every dollar of vehicle value. That matters because the car and the loan are now racing in opposite directions. The car generally loses value over time. The loan balance also falls, but early payments include interest, so the principal may decline more slowly than the buyer expects. If the car loses value faster than the debt falls, the borrower becomes trapped between 2 numbers. Selling the car may require extra cash. Trading it may move the shortage into yet another loan. If the car is totaled, the insurance payment may not cover the balance unless suitable gap protection applies. A borrower can make every scheduled payment and still be unable to afford an exit. The CFPB found that borrowers who financed negative equity were more than twice as likely to have their accounts assigned to repossession within 2 years as borrowers who traded vehicles with positive equity. Negative equity was not necessarily the only cause. Income, credit, and other risks also differed. But old debt clearly made the new loan more fragile. Now return to Daniel, 18 months after the purchase. His employer cuts overtime. His income falls. But the $599 payment does not. Then, the SUV needs new tires. Daniel places the tires on a credit card because his emergency savings are gone. The payment that once fit his budget now competes with rent, groceries, and electricity. He misses one payment, catches up partially, then falls behind again. If the vehicle is repossessed, the story may still not end. The lender can sell it and apply the proceeds to the account. If the sale price does not cover the balance and repossession costs, Daniel may still owe what is called a deficiency balance. In the CFPB's lender dataset, borrowers who still had a deficiency balance owed an average of $11,340 in December 2022. That is not a current national average, but it exposes the cruel final stage of the trap. Lose the vehicle, damage your credit, and continue paying for transportation you no longer have. For Daniel, losing the SUV may also mean losing reliable access to work the income needed to repay the debt. The financial product can damage the very system supporting it. Could Daniel have changed the ending? Yes, let us rewind the dealership conversation. The salesperson asks, "What monthly payment do you need?" This time, Daniel does not answer with one number. He says, "First, give me the out-the-door price in writing." That sentence forces the vehicle price, required fees, and other charges into the light. Before visiting the dealership, Daniel also gets a loan pre-approval from a bank or credit union. Now, when the dealer offers 9%, he can compare it with a real competing offer. The dealer may beat it. If not, Daniel already has another route. He asks to see four numbers together: the amount financed, the APR, the loan term, and the total of all payments. A monthly payment shows what leaves this month. Those four numbers show what the decision costs his future self. He handles the trade-in separately. He checks the payoff balance on his old loan and obtains more than one estimate of the car's value. If he is underwater, he can see the exact shortage before it is blended into another payment. Then he examines every add-on as though someone were asking him to buy it with cash. Is this optional? What does it cost in dollars? What does it exclude? Can I cancel it? Will I receive a refund if the loan ends early? Anything he did not request or cannot explain comes out of the contract. Finally, Daniel confirms that the financing is final before driving away and keeps a copy of every document. If financial trouble develops later, he contacts the lender or servicer immediately rather than waiting until repossession becomes the only conversation left. None of these steps guarantees a cheap car. Sometimes a person genuinely needs transportation in a difficult market. A longer loan may be the only payment that works. An add-on may provide real protection. Dealer financing may offer the best rate. The goal is not to fear every loan. It is to see every loan. Because the car payment trap is rarely built from one enormous mistake. It is built from small numbers designed to feel harmless. $19 more for the rate, $48 for protection. $3,500 from the old car, and 24 additional months to make everything fit. Each number whispers it is only a little more. Together, they can add $20,000 to the journey from showroom to final payment. The most important number at a dealership is not the payment circled with a pen. It is the total amount that will leave your life before the title finally belongs to you. A car should carry you toward your destination. Its financing should not quietly choose that destination for you. Have you ever watched a dealership lower the payment without lowering the price? Tell us what happened in the comments. And subscribe to Business Decoded, where we reveal the business systems hiding inside everyday life.